HotSpark.
Everyone tuned in last week to our pilot episode. This week we're talking about the Costa Rica.
Visit Costa Rica, and then also visit Dominican Republic.
So again, comparing two tourism or travel profiles, mainly because we just love it.
Yeah.
And B, they typically, I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, these travel and tourism boards tend to really execute on marketing and influencer marketing. Yeah. So our hope is that you learn from us profiling them.
See what we're looking for.
See what we're looking for. So where are we starting?
Let's start with Visit Costa Rica. So we'll pull up our handy dandy Instagram profile here so you can actually see what we're looking at, what I'm looking at on my phone. And the first thing that hits when you're looking at an Instagram grid is like the colors and what kind of pulls you in, right? Like they obviously have great photography, but you know, people were like randomly highlighted throughout the grid, and that is definitely something, one of the first things I look for when I'm looking at especially a travel board is the people, and not just the people who live there, which is important, but also the people visiting there, like the tourists.
Can I ask about that real quick? Because we talked about that last week, and you mentioned like part of your rubric with HotMod is, are there enough faces showing up here?
Yeah.
And especially with your tourism boards like Pigeon Forge and Lake Havasu and you know, Margaritaville, all the clients you've worked with, Visit Central Florida, it's supremely important to have more faces. I was thinking about this after the last episode. As travel places, most people are trying to get away from life, basically get away from other humans' faces. So I was wondering, I mean, it's got to be intentional what Visit Costa Rica is doing. Not a lot of faces, more nature.
So do you think they're leaning into the fact that this is like
I'm wondering
a destination that's more private and
getaway-ish,
right?
You know,
yeah.
So, I mean, if the marketing director came to you and was like, "Hey, help me out with Visit Costa Rica," of course we'd say we want to see more people's faces. But how far would you push into that when you think about nature is really their attraction?
It doesn't. So nature should be, but there should be a rotation of content, and that's true for a content creator or you know, any type of influencer or tourism board. So let's rotate it. Let's keep nature at the forefront, and then trickle.
You trickle. I like trickle.
Trickle in different types of content, and if that can include the people of, you know, the people who live there and the people who travel there.
I see.
And so they do that. I just don't think they do it enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I notice, like, there are people in this particular grid.
Right.
But their faces are obscured. And I'm sitting here wondering, like, so I have an art background, and, you know, I have the website company where you always want to see smiles. So it's like, let me see the face head on. But when it comes to art, and I'm not saying this is high art necessarily, but it makes the interaction with the photo or the art like a bit more meditative. And so do you think they consciously chose like the silhouette of this gal climbing a tree, or this guy looking up and away, or the yoga gal? It's like what, actually.
So do we only go to Costa Rica to meditate and sit in the jungle?
Maybe.
And look at cool wild boars, or go across. I mean,
like salsa dancing. There's other facial.
Are there any cities? Like, is there any city life?
Yeah, San Jose.
Okay, restaurants. Like shopping. You know, is the island there? Okay, there's one city picture right there.
Right there.
So you know, is it because the city's not as inviting as all of the other nature? And maybe that's what you were saying, like people don't really want to see the city when they're going to Costa Rica. They're really going there for the island feel and the nature. And so, so I do think an emphasis on the business owners, even if it's like the Airbnbs or the resorts, they're in here. They've got to be in here. And how do you get to them? And who's enjoying them? Because remember, in marketing, or especially influencer marketing, they work with influencers so people can relate and imagine themselves there.
Yes.
So pretty picture can help a little bit, but to really pull them in, influencer marketing would help a lot.
Well, yeah, and the only photo I saw in here with text on it is down the grid quite a bit. It's a city photo, and it says people who live in San Jose are living a completely different reality. That's almost like,
Wow.
That's almost the opposite. It almost got too detailed and philosophical.
Yeah, it did.
Look.
A completely different reality. What reality is that?
Yeah, there we go.
But look at these numbers too. Like, these are good numbers. Okay, so they have almost 500,000 followers.
Yeah.
They're getting anywhere from 80 to 200,000 likes, views on some of their nature videos, right? So, you know.
Well, okay, so.
But they could, I don't know if they're paid, like maybe they've been boosted too, so.
It's hard to tell. But those are good numbers. And, well, and what's weird is like this one that I'm hovering, everyone can see it on my screen. Whether you're a beginner or an expert, they're doing some meditation retreat. 88,000 views.
Wow.
But only 11 comments.
Wow.
As a marketer, is that
No.
indicative of anything?
It means that people think it's pretty and they're not really engaging
There's
with
nothing
the
to
content. Yeah.
But it's not indicative of like whether they're doing a good job with that or bad job with that.
I do think it's indicative of that should be indicative, like, okay, that content isn't performing the way we want it to. Like 11 comments is very low.
On 88,000?
Yes.
Yeah, and so like if you're a small business owner, if you're posting, I mean, your videos aren't going to get 80,000 views. If you're a small business owner or content creator, you're going to have a couple thousand. But what is like, what about your content? What's some of the best performing content you've had?
Best performing content. It's always the reels that I don't think is gonna like really do anything. Mostly when I'm in it or picking a trending audio, or where I'm explaining something that somebody is interested in. So,
does it tend to garner comments, or is it proportionally small like this?
The ones that perform well usually garner comments. So I would say like I only have, you know, a 1,300 followers or so. But if I had that many hearts, then I'm usually going to have more conversation than that.
1,200,
right?
1,270 likes,
Yeah.
as opposed to 11 comments. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But are these numbers that the average content creator should be worried about, thinking about? Like, as we're reflecting on Visit Costa Rica, and we really want to just encourage y'all to be creating much more content, but content that's aligned, content that has more faces. Do they need to be, when does a small business need to be really thinking about the comments to likes to view ratio? Like, what is that? When is that? What is
Every
that
single post.
Oh, really?
All the time.
Analytics matter.
Yes, all the time.
No matter
Data. And is it driving, like, when you click on Costa Rica's links,
Yes.
they have a huge campaign around sustainability. So is this content supporting their sustainability campaign? And
so when I see, I guess they're assuming that anyone knows that we have a strong sustainability push. Therefore, if I see nature photos, it's
maybe,
hand in hand.
Yeah, maybe that's what they're really trying to drive home. But their goal is to be the first carbon neutral country. But why not put that on like a text overlay over a post and pin it to the top so people understand your mission and they're immediately drawn in by that. You know, I can look at your beautiful nature, but I don't know that that's your mission. And
somewhere in here, tell me that.
There's a whole influencer niche that's sustainable, like that they only travel places that have these practices in place. So that would draw in that type of travel blogger, or that type of travel influencer. You could build a whole campaign around it that supports this mission that's on their website. And right now, I don't see it.
You know, I know you probably know this. The public probably knows this just because it floats around. But like the mantra in Costa Rica is "Pura vida," which is like living the pure life.
Did you live there?
No.
You lived in Dominican Republic.
I lived in the Dominican.
Okay, which we're gonna go check out next.
We'll check that out in a second. And just because we're picking Costa Rica apart doesn't mean we don't like it. Like I think we agreed beforehand when we were looking this together. We think this is a phenomenal account relative to other accounts. These are just small ways that I think they could get their message across. But what does dawn on me is, honestly, I'm a little protective because I love Costa Rica, and I went there.
I'm sensing that. You're like, but they're doing good. Like, look at that.
Well, but when I look at these, the first grid, for example, the first 9, I think Pura Vida, and I think these photos are pure. They're not marred by text. They're not even marred necessarily by like in art, when you see someone's face, you have to decide, do I align or not align? If you're a female and you see my photo and you see a bearded person, there's this immediate distancing that happens from that. Yeah, just in terms of, can I project myself into this photo, or can I project myself into this art, if they're like me or they're not like me? And I'm wondering, it's just a question, if they're trying to go for like a pure, completely project yourself into the grid, just by going, I don't see a face, I just want to be there. So I'm throwing them love. I don't know. So
they could create more FOMO. Like,
you want to see more FOMO?
Yeah, they could really create. And what's going to set them apart from, we're going to see, visit Dominican Republic, and what you're seeing with a lot of these islands is that they'll focus on like the beach, but then they kind of all start looking the same.
They do, and even us looking at Discover Puerto Rico, which was standout, and here's hoping, if you're watching, we'd love to connect with the Discover Puerto Rico people. We're hoping that comes to pass in the next few days.
Yes.
The Visit the Bahamas.
Right.
When I looked at Visit the Bahamas and these next two that we're talking about today, I was like, these are all starting to look very much the same.
And I would be thinking, how can I look different, and how can I speak directly to the traveler?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's any other point? We talked a lot about faces and influencers, but like, what else are you looking at? Like, I'm looking at, there's not a lot of highlight reels.
They are not utilizing their highlights. They have a Q&A thing, but what about adding the cities, the places to go, the businesses, the restaurants that we're talking about?
Like a sustainability.
Sure, exactly. There you go. Now you're learning.
All right.
Whatever the marketing initiatives are, like they don't make people look for it. You make it very easy. We all know that. The less clicks, the better. The less I have to figure you out, the better.
Interesting. And with 457,000 followers, the verified, this has got to be maybe we need to be corrected. Maybe this isn't even the official. But I think our homework found that this was the official account.
Yeah, I worry about that because there's other people that will like make an account that looks like the official
hotel or something.
Yeah, and it's like, man, it's annoying. But no, this is the official one. It says welcome to the official account.
Yes, you're right.
And it's verified. So those are usually the two things I'll look for.
But now that we're looking at this, I was going to totally defend them 100%, but I am noticing like, okay, and even their bio is a little limited.
Where's the tap the link below to experience the Pura Vida, but that tap takes them to a website about sustainability, and I don't know what the call to action is there.
Well, yeah, and when you have Pura Vida, it's kind of like in the Dominican Republic, you had this tranquilo. It's kind of like, hey, chill, bro. Like, if you were on the island and there's this thing called island time, and if you were starting to be, very American, like, hey, why is the bus not on time? Or like, hey, how do we, when's dinner again? And
9 o'clock.
And they're like, hey, tranquilo, man. And it's like, hey, chill out. Pura Vida is a little different from that, where someone makes a mistake, and they're like, hey, Pura Vida, and it's kind of like, I'm over it. It's kind of like, hey, it's kind of like chill.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I'm over it. And you're totally right. To experience Pura Vida, and you click it, and you're right, both of these go to like almost actionist. What's the word? Like, they want you to take action. Right. In both of these, as opposed to like engaging you into.
Now they're talking about sustainability, which is important, and maybe that's their version of that. But you
Yeah.
got to think you're talking to like, I mean, who travels there the most? I'll say a bulk of it is Americans, and they're looking for certain things.
Yeah.
If this is important to a traveler, great. But like, I'm looking for
a continuation of this promise.
Experience. Yes.
So show me the words "experience Pura Vida," and now it already changed. Oh, there's a pop up.
Okay. That didn't even pop up on my phone, though.
But this is now a paywall. And when it comes to not a paywall, we call this paywall. It's a pop-up, but you can't do anything until you engage with it.
Right.
And so we often refer to this as paywalls in the website company. And, I think this is kind of... And there's Pura Vida.
Yeah. Look, so this must... I wonder if this is this setting is, after... You know how you can set it up after 60 seconds the pop-up will come up?
Yeah.
Because I went to it and it didn't pop up right away. So maybe it gives them a second to read it, but at the same time you might just want to go ahead and have it be immediate because it goes along with your call to action.
But in terms of a funnel, if we were just thinking about this, I know you consult a lot of funnels. I saw you consulting a funnel yesterday and earlier in the week. there should be some form of continuity of the messaging.
Yes.
You know, like it should say, welcome to Pura Vida,
Right.
or, you know, start your journey now, or something like this.
Yeah.
But they're obviously big on sustainability, so that's our critique. What time is
Okay.
it? Let's look.
Yeah, we've already zoomed half the show. We can't do that. Woo, we're learning here.
Yeah.
Okay. Visit Dominican Republic.
Okay.
We'll have to go through this a little bit faster
Sure.
to stay on track. And is
talk
this
to
the
me about it.
official? Is this the official one?
Yes, I researched this, and living in the DR, I
Okay.
even Googled this, go Dominican Republic, and if you go to this link, actually, I'll just bring this up on this screen. You go to the link, it's actually the Ministry of Tourism, Ministerio de Turismo.
Okay. I did notice that.
So this is the official page for sure. So, you know what's funny? We came on this, and I knew I was going to be like, yay, Costa Rica. And DR was going to, it's a little less developed. I lived there for a year, and it's a little challenging, but I'm looking at the things we just critiqued,
Right.
and they're doing them.
Yeah, they've got it.
They've got it going on. So talk to me about what you're seeing through your eyes here.
Yeah. So apparently I was on the wrong one because this one looks different.
It's Go Dom Rep. Go Dominican Republic. Yep, go right there.
There we
That's
go.
the one. There you
Okay.
go.
I'm following you. Go Dimrep.
Yep.
Okay, so maybe I'm just a sucker for text overlay in this season, but speaking of seasons, it says change the season. So they're picturing you there immediately with this video because it shows a family.
And the video is a
contrast,
continuous.
yeah, and it's a contrast of like, hey, you are dealing with the winter months in your state or where you live.
Here we go.
And you can come to the DR and step into summer. So it's like change your season. I love this.
So this was a very well coordinated reel where they shot this thing in the snow and then did this like transition
Right.
where they leapt into the Dominican Republic. It's thoughtful.
Do you see how quickly that we got pulled in?
Yeah.
Like I pictured myself. I have a family. Okay, I'm cold. I'm not really. I'm in Florida, but still,
Yeah.
we know that right now it's moving into fall, and like people are planning things, and they're like, let me get out of this cold
Or they're
weather.
getting seasonal affect disorder and they're just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, get me out of here.
This is cute too. The next video is super cute. Same thing.
Change the and these are pinned, by the way. So
Right.
so maybe what we're seeing is if you're a small business or a content creator and you know that you have a seasonal marketing campaign, do not forget to take those first 3 spots and pin them.
Right.
To really reinforce the message. But yeah, you know, you guys have been watching the video on my screenplay, and it's a similar video, and it shows her nice little legs in the snow, and then boom, she's totally happy.
Right.
I mean, you're right, that totally pulls you in.
It does.
That is surprising. This is not going the way I thought it would.
Man, for as much as you love the DR, you weren't giving it much credit at first, huh?
No, well, because I live there, I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, there are places that feel like this, and there's a lot of places that do not feel
Right.
like this, which is the
There
same.
might be different, like when you break it down money wise, like how much do they spend on from their tourism, how their tourism tax is set up to fund these marketing initiatives too. So
Like, do
and
each
they
of the
make it,
cities contribute a certain way, or the resorts, you know?
or if they even have a tourism, I'm sure they do. But yeah, how they collect that and how they use it. You know, so they're using it for video creation, and it looks like they want people to tag. Look, there's a call to action right there in
they're using
the profile.
All that
in the
want,
bio.
All that you want in the DR.
Right.
It's kind of long.
It is a little.
It was a little long.
All that you want in the DR. They must have like not been able to get the one they wanted, and they had to make theirs own up. But yeah, I would totally forget that. But at least they are presenting an opportunity for tourists or people who are visiting there to pop up with that hashtag, and so they can find them and then ask to share their photos and ask to share their video. They're encouraging engagement. So, I mean, they're like hitting on all points here.
They are. And the highlights are very well done too.
Yes.
We made the comment about Costa Rica just a moment ago that like at least tell us the destinations. And lived outside of Punta Cana. We've been to the Samana area, but then they have culture as well.
Okay.
So this allows someone who's searching for experiences.
Right.
Sports Illustrated, maybe someone saw a Sports Illustrated thing. I think that they name cities, but if you've never been to the Dominican Republic, I think they should maybe focus on experiences, maybe like food, maybe like
that into
surfing,
it.
something that tells people more clearly, because these towns are great, and I wouldn't get rid of these towns.
Right. I mean, if they have enough good info underneath the city, that gives me an idea of like what it's like there, then I can consider that when I'm planning my trip. Do I want to, which part of the island do I want to go to? So I like that, but I do think, or if the restaurants just show up, in the content too.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're giving good info underneath these cities.
So I lived just outside of Sosua and Puerto Plata for a little while, and there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of activities. There's almost too much from the kite surfing, but I don't see a lot of food. Sidebar to anyone, listen. This is an area known as Jarabacoa. Actually, this is a specific waterfall, but you go there, you drive up, and you put on a helmet and a vest. You hike for about 2 to 4 hours to the top.
Wow.
And you jump down waterfalls, 27 of them,
What?
all the way down. It is a trip.
Oh my gosh.
It is nutty. It's definitely check out.
So those are people
Those
just
are
going
humans.
down
in
water between those rocks.
Yeah, it's totally fun. It's totally cool. Yeah, check it out. Okay, anything else? The other thing I noticed here that Costa Rica did not have, missed opportunity, is the guides. Now, they have one guide.
But you can make a lot of guides, and I do think it's helpful.
Yeah, to make guides. So how does this translate? So we looked at these two accounts. I think, honestly, the DR wins today.
I do too. I
didn't think it would.
I really do. They have bright, colorful pictures, but they also really feature great areas of the island, the cities. They've got people in here as well, and they really leaned into their Sports Illustrated, which they should.
They
yeah,
should.
I mean, like if you have some
win.
kind of PR like that, PR in the DR.
Oh dang! Thank you.
Gotta go with that one. Okay,
that's a better hashtag.
Yeah, I really like, and you notice too, almost every one of their posts are reels.
Yeah.
Which it should, really should be. I mean, you can speckle in photography or use that photography as your reel cover if you really want to feature a certain type of photography. But honestly, you got to get real. You got to do reels every day.
You got it every day.
Yeah.
So
every
real
day.
quick, we have a question, and this is from, we know her, the lovely Jessica Ojeda. When I lived in Costa Rica, pura vida meant more like that's cool, that's all right. Everything's great, not so much chill out. Well, okay, I correlate the two, but she did live there, so she would know. I was only there briefly for a surf trip. So let's do this. We check out one more time. It's Go Dominican Republic, and it's Visit Costa Rica. Go check out the two. We'd love to hear your opinion.
Vote. Which one do you think is doing a better job of getting you to want to visit there?
Yeah, which one are you like, I'm going to totally go. But
Yeah.
let me ask you, what can the average content creator, the average small business, the average influencer learn from these two accounts?
They can learn that their bios do need to be optimized and their highlights do need to be utilized in order to get the best chance of engagement.
And what are some quick bullets? We saw these, but let's extrapolate those and boom. How do people maximize their bio? Just that one alone real quick.
Are we talking about anybody?
Yeah, any content creator, from what we learned today, we don't think we should have to iterate what we just saw maybe in Costa Rica, but let's reiterate it. What is that thing?
It is being really clear and concise about who you are, how you're serving or how you're helping, and then a call to action.
And that clear call to action, because we did see a call to action in the Costa Rican one, but it popped up 2 links, and those links there was no continuity from the words to the place we went.
That's true.
And as a web developer, every step of the funnel, it should be clear.
Yeah. So if your call to action shouldn't go to your Facebook group, unless you specifically say, join this Facebook group or masterclass or whatever, get a link tree and have that top option match your call to action in your bio. Those should be continuous.
Other things that I think I observed, the DR utilized a hashtag in their bio.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a seasonal one. I think they're trying to keep that one alive for a while.
And I think that's good for a tourism board, don't you? I wouldn't say a content creator necessarily or a business unless it's another travel destination. I just don't see it a lot. I don't hate it, but I don't know that every type of business or whatever needs to have it.
But if there is a fit though that you think has longevity. So for example, with the training company Spark, State of the Spark, we say igniting lives of explosive significance, but a hashtag I've been using off and on for quite some time, but I haven't done other marketing with, and I should, was hashtag Spark Life.
Yeah.
And I dig that, and I think there's longevity to it, but only if I'm reinforcing that. you know, across the way. So, but I think you're right. Like the average AC company, you know, like
You're not going to
chill
take a
out,
picture.
bro. Hashtag
Take a picture with your AC, like hashtag you guys.
Yeah, and like who's searching for the hashtag? And that's the other thing. Like, how are hashtags used? Who's searching for that? I don't know. That's not a lot. Any other lessons for the average influencer, tourism board, content creator?
I think that tourism boards should take a look at what other tourism boards are doing to keep up with the changing trends. And I think that actually goes like across the board for everybody, right? Like I feel like we get very siloed. Do you ever go look at other accounts and like?
Oh yeah, I look at other website companies.
I forget I'm asking Grant this.
What?
The average bear, I don't know, would do. I don't look at other accounts, and I should, but I know that. I'm like, I try to be aware.
Well, I mean, I really, but the thing is I get sucked in, so I don't do the analysis like I should. So yes, it's a call out. Like I might look at. I was just looking at Donald Miller, who has StoryBrand, and he put out a post about coaching, and you know we're focusing on coaching a bit more on State of the Spark. But I got sucked into his content.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
So I got lost from like, wait,
There's a
no,
risk of that. Yeah, I'm
researching.
researching, and then now I'm binging. Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm binging.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you're a content creator, small business owner, so some of the takeaways: check your competitors and like don't get sucked in. Like actually,
like actually take a look at their bios and see what's working for them, and then follow that path to see with their webs, like does it go to their website? Do you guys do that at Spark, like suggest like whatever landing pages that you're making for them, how to optimize it for their social media?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, yes, we do. Short answer, because there has to be logical continuity. You know, it's like if you're Googling refrigerators and a refrigerator website comes up and you click it and it's ovens.
Right.
It's like, wait, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Kind of like we did with Costa Rica. So yeah, I mean, but the interesting thing about this show and what we're doing is we've been doing this now for I don't know how long you've been doing marketing. How long have you been doing marketing?
10 years.
I've been doing websites since 2001, but Spark Sites since 2013, so almost 10 years. You overlook these things. You're like, this is obvious. Everyone knows that this link should lead to this, that we should maximize the profile or whatever.
Sometimes it's the most obvious things that that we look over.
Yeah, so we do that. All right. Big takeaways. Check out Go Dom Republic.
Yep.
Visit Costa Rica and let us know what you think. Tell us what you think about the marketing. But I think what I want to know is how you're applying any of these principles. If you've improved and it's not just about Instagram. These principles transfer, I think, to most all of your social media profiles. Where can people visit you?
Hot My Agency.
HotMyAgency.com.
Across the board. Yeah.
Visit us at stateofthespark.com or Spark My Site and check us. I think we're on for next week. You'll see a message about it. Thank you for stopping by, and this is HotSpark.
See?